Hi friends. Today our topic is globe. Through globe we will explore the Earth. Globe is actually a small model of the Earth. The Earth is very large in size, and we cannot see the entire Earth at once. Therefore, a small model of it has been created to see and understand it. Through globe, we can easily see and understand the positions and expanses of different continents, oceans, countries, and various locations on the entire Earth. To understand or read a globe or map, it is necessary to have knowledge of directions. If we have a globe or an authentic map in front of us, the top side represents the north direction, and the bottom side represents the south direction. The right side represents the east direction, and the left side represents the west direction. Similarly, colors are used to depict landforms and water bodies. The color blue represents water. As 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, when seen from space, the Earth appears blue. That is why the Earth is also called the blue planet. The color green represents plains. Dark brown color depicts high mountains, and light brown color represents low heights, plateaus, and deserts. The color white represents snowy regions. To show the location and expanses of any place or country on the globe, imaginary lines called meridians and parallels are drawn on it. These lines are only drawn on globes or maps and do not exist on the actual Earth. The vertical lines on the globe are called meridians of longitude, and the horizontal lines are called lines of latitude.
You also need to know how to read and understand longitude and latitude.
They are expressed in degrees, minutes, and seconds. For example, 30 degrees 25 minutes 18 seconds represents the eastern longitude. First, let's understand the lines of latitude. The lines of latitude start from the 0-degree latitude line, which is considered the middle line of the globe. It is also known as the equator. The equator divides the Earth into two equal hemispheres. If we cut the Earth from the middle, the upper half will be the northern hemisphere, and the lower half will be the southern hemisphere. If we remove these lines from the globe and look at the Earth, it appears in the following way. When we look at the Earth from above the equator or the middle line, we can see more land areas here. That's why the northern hemisphere is also known as the land hemisphere. If we look at the southern hemisphere, we can see more water bodies. Therefore, the southern hemisphere is also called the water hemisphere. Above the equator, there are 90 lines of latitude known as the northern lines of latitude. For example, we read 10 degrees north latitude, 25 degrees north latitude, 54 degrees north latitude, and so on. Similarly, below the equator, there are 90 lines of latitude known as the southern lines of latitude. These lines are called the southern lines of latitude, and we read them as 10 degrees south latitude, 26 degrees south latitude, 80 degrees south latitude, and so on. All lines of latitude are circular, with the largest line of latitude being the equator. The equator is the midline, with a total length of 40,075 kilometers. As we move north or south, the length of these lines decreases, and the 90-degree latitude line becomes a point. This line is known as the North Pole in Northern Hemisphere and South Poles in the South Hemisphere. The average distance between each line of latitude is 111 kilometers. Along with the equator, two other lines of latitude are significant. The 23 degrees 30 minutes north latitude is called the Tropic of Cancer, and the 23 degrees 30 minutes south latitude is called the Tropic of Capricorn.
Earth is tilted on its axis by 23.5 degrees. Due to the Earth's tilt its axis, when the sun shines directly over the Tropic of Cancer on June 21st, it is called the summer solstice. During this time, the northern hemisphere experiences warmer weather and longer days, while the southern hemisphere experiences winter and shorter days. Conversely, when the sun shines directly over the Tropic of Capricorn on December 22, it is called the winter solstice. At this time, the southern hemisphere experiences warmer weather and longer days, while the northern hemisphere experiences winter and shorter days. On March 21 and September 23, sunshine on the equator, then the day and night are equal, all over the Earth.
The line of latitude at 66 degrees 30 minutes is also significant. It is called the Arctic Circle in the north and the Antarctic Circle in the south. When the sun is in the northern hemisphere, a situation occurs on the Arctic Circle where there is a 24-hour day from there to the North Pole, while at the same time on the Antarctic Circle, there is a 24-hour night at the South Pole. Similarly, when the sun gradually moves towards the southern hemisphere, there is a gradual onset of night on the Arctic Circle, and when the sun is fully in the southern hemisphere, the entire Arctic Circle becomes dark, and there is a 24-hour night there. While the Antarctic Circle experiences a 24-hour day. Both of these regions experience extreme cold. The lines of latitude have an effect on the weather. The equator always experiences warmth, and as we move towards the north or south, the temperature gradually decreases. Now let's learn about the meridians. As mentioned before, the vertical lines drawn on the globe or map are called meridians of longitude. These lines extend from the North Pole to the South Pole. They are semicircular.
They all have the same length. The distance between two meridians of longitude on the equator is 111.32 kilometers.
However, as we move towards the north or south from the equator, the distance between these lines decreases progressively and meets at the poles. The line right in the middle of all meridians is considered the 0-degree line. It is also known as the prime meridian, the prime meridian of longitude, or the Greenwich meridian. On the right side of this line, all lines are referred to as the eastern hemisphere, and on the left side, all lines are referred to as the western hemisphere. In other words, the Greenwich meridian divides the map into eastern and western parts. There are 179 lines of longitude to the east of the Greenwich meridian, such as the 5 degrees east longitude, 10 degrees east longitude, 15 degrees east longitude, 100 degrees east longitude, and so on. Similarly, to the west, there are 179 lines of longitude, and they are referred to as the 5 degrees west longitude, 10 degrees west longitude, 15 degrees west longitude, and so on. Right behind the Greenwich meridian is a line of 180 degrees longitude. All these lines combined make a total of 360 lines of longitude. The Greenwich meridian, which is the 0-degree line, passes through the center of the globe or map. This line passes through the city of London, England. The global time is determined from this line.
The global time is determined from this line. The time to the east of the Greenwich meridian is considered plus GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, and the time to the west is considered minus GMT. This is because the rotation of the Earth occurs from west to east, which makes the sun appear to rise from the east first and then move towards the west.
Each degree of longitude has a time difference of 4 minutes. This means that if it is 10 o'clock on a certain meridian of longitude, it will be 10 o'clock and 4 minutes on the meridian of longitude 1 degree to the east, and it will be 9 o'clock and 56 minutes on the meridian of longitude 1 degree to the west. Countries that span a large longitudinal area from east to west experience significant time differences between one side and the other. To cope with this difference, there are multiple time zones in various countries. France has the most time zones with 12. Russia and the United States have 11 time zones each. Australia and the United Kingdom have 6 time zones. India has only 1 time zone. The world is divided into 24 time zones, with each time zone differing by 1 hour. In each time zone, there are 15 lines of longitude. The line of longitude that determines the time according to a specific meridian is called the standard meridian or standard parallel. India extends from east to west, covering a considerable distance. It passes through 30 lines of longitude. There is a time difference of approximately 2 hours between Arunachal Pradesh and the middle of Gujarat. In Arunachal Pradesh, the sunrise occurs earlier, approximately 2 hours before it happens in Gujarat. Due to India's extensive territory, its standard meridian has been designated as 82 degrees 30 minutes east longitude. This line passes through the city of Mirzapur in the state of Uttar Pradesh, India. The time in India is 5 hours and 30 minutes ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time (GMT) because India is located east of the prime meridian. Now let's talk about the 180-degree meridian. This line is exactly opposite to the prime meridian. The international date line has been determined on this line. It is called the international date line because it passes through the oceanic region. It cuts through only a few places, such as Russia. The beginning of the day is considered from the exact west of this line. The date changes earlier here, and the date changes 12 hours later. In order to manage such a large time difference within the same country, the international date line has been bent at certain places. This prevents having two different dates in the same country for such a long duration. Similarly, this is a part of the Alaska state, which is a state of the United States of America. The date changes earlier here and 10 hours later in the United States of America. That is why this line has been bent here as well.
If the date changes first or if New Year is celebrated first somewhere in the world, it is the place known as Kiribati Island. You can see how much the international date line is curved in this location. Here you can see how the time and date change in the globe and world. The red line here is indicate international date line.
In the beginning, we mentioned that the latitude and longitude lines are used to determine the position and extent of a country or place. Now let's see and read about the position and extent of India. India is located here on the globe. To understand it properly, we will use this map.
India's north-south extent is between 8 degrees 4 minutes and 37 degrees 6 minutes north latitude. Similarly, India's west-east extent is between 68 degrees 7 minutes east longitude and 97 degrees 25 minutes east longitude.
The video has become quite long. If you have any questions or queries related to geography, you can write them in the comments. To watch more videos related to geography, please visit our channel regularly. Thanks for watching.